How many times tonight have you said McKnight was right?
I am so pumped for McKnight Tonight.
See if you can work out why it infuriated me. You know I will get hate for speaking to you. Oh, speaking of rants.
Fun, insightful interviews from a washed-up producer with nothing to lose. McKnight Tonight. McKnight Tonight. Here comes McKnight Tonight.
Welcome to McKnight Tonight. Now, here's Rob McKnight.
Hello and welcome to McKnight Tonight. I am Rob McKnight. It is Wednesday, the 26th of November, 2025. And guess what? Tonight, it's a night of nothing but hot topics. And maybe, Amanda, I reckon we can do a backhand quickie as well. What do you reckon?
Sure, why not?
Excellent. You know, some days there is honestly so many things I want to get off my chest that I don't have time when we do a feature interview. So tonight, it's just me ranting. But I'll also have a Rob's rant as well, because just in case you feel I haven't ranted enough. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, head to youtube.com/@McKnight Tonight and make sure you've subscribed and hit the bell. And also, if you're not at YouTube, go to YouTube, youtube.com/@McKnight Tonight. The more subscribers we get, the more it helps us build the show, grow the show, and we need your help to do that. And leave a comment. And if you've never left a comment before, leave one tonight. But you can also do it at the McKnight Tonight Facebook page, so feel free to do it there. All right, let me tell you about all these hot topics coming up. A deep dive into what voters really thought at the 2025 federal election and the political shifts that should have everyone nervous. The fallout from the Brittany Higgins case takes a new twist, and Labor is spending a lot of money. What are they trying to hide?
Well,
My rant on a new twist regarding the Bureau of Meteorology's $96 million website disaster. Plus, are you a Christmas rebel or a Christmas rule follower? And when is too early to put up the tree? All right, let's get into it. A major report has been released today into Australian voting habits. And I know that might sound boring, but it's actually fascinating. Fresh data from the 2025 federal election, courtesy of the Australian Election Study, reveals what was driving voters, how the party stacked up on issues and leaders, and what shifts are underway in Australian politics. A key headline: for the first time in decades, the Australian Labor Party has overtaken the Liberal National Coalition as the preferred party on economic management and taxation. That is a huge shift. But there are deeper undercurrents. Young voters are shifting left, party loyalty is weakening, and major parties are being challenged from inside and outside. Let me take you through the key takeaways. On policy preferences and voter concerns, Labor was the preferred party on 9 of the 10 policy issue areas examined. The only exception, national security. For the first time since tracking began, Labor overtook the coalition on economic management and taxation. 2/3 of voters identified an economic issue as their top concern. Cost of living was the top concern overall, as you might imagine. Immigration rose in salience from 3% to 6%, and support for nuclear power was evenly split, approximately 38% in favour versus 37% opposed. Now, what's interesting about that is that Peter Dutton ran on nuclear energy, but it seemed toxic when the election was taking place. So to find the fact that voters are evenly split is quite interesting. There's no surprise that cost of living played a major factor in the election. What is surprising is that Labor are now seen as the economic leaders and the more trustworthy when it comes to economics. That has never been the case as far as I can remember. The Liberal Coalition Party, the Liberals and the Nats, have always been seen as the better economic managers. So this is a major turning point and a real worry for the Liberal Party, because without that, what do they stand for? In the leadership and parties category, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese was the preferred leader, scoring higher than opposition leader Peter Dutton. That was across all 9 measured leader characteristics, including compassion, trustworthiness and competence. Dutton received an historically low popularity rating, a mean 3.2 out of 10, the lowest for a major party leader in the study's history. Look, it's no surprise that Peter Dutton came in behind Anthony Albanese. The election bore that out. What made him such an unpopular leader, though, that he got the lowest score ever on record? It's a fascinating question. In the next category is minor parties, independence and de-alignment. Now, the proportion of voters who do not feel close to any political party reached 25%. That is the highest on record. For the first time, non-partisans, 25%, surpassed Liberal partisans, 24%. Independent and minor party votes continue to benefit from the weakening of major party ties. And we're seeing that as well. The teal vote is going through the roof. Now, the Greens, they ran into trouble at the last election, and I think that's because they went too far. And we always talk about this. When a movement goes too far, they lose mainstream voters. At the moment, the Teals are picking those up. It is fascinating, though, that we've got a situation where there are more, when it comes to partisan, people who just really will support their team. We've got more non-partisans at 25%, than Liberal partisans on 24%. That's something to pay attention to and shows how we're not loyal to a political party anymore. We don't just always vote Liberal because our mum and dad voted Liberal. We don't vote Labor because our mum and dad always did that. Maybe people are more informed now, but they're making their own decisions. They're making them based on issues and not just a political alliance. In the generational and gender trends, younger generations, millennials in their 30s and 40s, continue shifting leftwards. The coalition support among them fell from 38% in 2016 to 21% in 2025. A gender gap persists. Women were more likely to vote left into the Labor and the Greens, and men more likely for the coalition. Labor attracted 5% more women than men, and the coalition 9% more men than women. That's fascinating and shows that younger people, as traditionally has been the case, go towards the left. But there's a theory that as people get older and they've got money behind them, and it comes back to that Liberal always used to be seen as the economic, better economics than Labor, that they would get those older voters. But that seems to be changing. In the trust, democracy and foreign policy category, trust in government was 32% and satisfaction with democracy at 70%. They remain stable, slightly recovered from previous lows. Confidence in the US as Australia's defence partner dropped significantly from 73% in 2022 to 54% in 2025. Now, support for Australia becoming a republic, well, that has edged up 56% now in favour of it. So that's going to be interesting to see. I thought the Republican movement was sort of falling out of favour. I genuinely thought that people had just moved on. I voted for the Republic when we had that referendum. Would I today? I'm not so sure. Now, John Howard did a very clever thing by dividing the Republican vote by choosing what system we had to. It wasn't a simple question. Do you want a republic? No. They had a conference. They had to come up with the plan. Australians, I believe, wanted to elect their president, a bit like the US system. But the experts that were behind the republic, they wanted Parliament to choose the president. And that seemed to negate the whole idea of what we wanted. The people wanted to choose. That'd be interesting if a referendum was held today. I think we're a long way off. Nobody wants to go down that path. But those trends are fascinating, especially the fact we're not aligned with political parties anymore. That is a huge change.
Here comes McKnight Tonight.
All right, let me know your thoughts by leaving your comments in the comment section of this video. You can do it on Facebook, but of course the best place to do it is YouTube at youtube.com/@McKnightTonight. If you are watching on another platform like X or LinkedIn or anywhere else, we cannot scoop up your comments through our system. It's all technical, but basically the only place we can get your comments from are YouTube and Facebook. So go there and leave us your comments and I will get to your feedback shortly. All right, moving on. The Albanese government is facing growing pressure over secrecy surrounding legal fees in the fallout from the Brittany Higgins scandal. Attorney General Michelle Rowland has refused to confirm whether barristers hired to fight claims by Linda Reynolds and Fiona Brown are being paid above the government threshold of $5,000 per day. Under federal rules, you see, any fee above that amount requires personal sign-off from the Attorney General and must be approved only in exceptional circumstances. But Labor has engaged some of the nation's most expensive legal minds to fight off the challenges by Reynolds and Brown. Now, Brown's claim against the Commonwealth is for failing to protect her in the wake of Brittany Higgins' rape allegations. Reynolds' legal action centres around the compensation payment to Brittany Higgins. She claims that payout was publicly affirming of Higgins' allegations against her. Now, the Australian reports Fiona Brown has not been able to work for more than 4 years due to the toll caused by false allegations she and her boss engaged in a political cover-up of Miss Higgins' rape claims. And it's been very hard for Fiona Brown. Now, it was alleged that she and Linda Reynolds tried to cover up what happened to Brittany Higgins. And Justice Michael Lee's ruling, when there was that defamation action with Bruce Lerman against Channel 10 and Lisa Wilkinson, well, he found that there was no attempt to cover up the alleged rape by Reynolds' office or Brown. He said, let me quote, it is the only alleged cover-up of which I am aware where those said to be responsible for covering up were almost insisting the complainant go to the police. Now, I'm going to say I do not have a issue with Higgins being paid out. You know, like $2.4 million in government money is like us spending maybe $100 or $20. And so I'm not going to have a problem with that. And Michael Justice Lee found in all probability she was raped by Bruce Lerman in Parliament House. But on the question of when Higgins told Brown the allegation, Lee preferred Brown's evidence over Higgins. I unhesitatingly preferred the evidence of Ms. Brown, he said. And he described the cover-up allegation as objectively short on facts, but long on speculation and internal inconsistencies. So Fiona Brown has faced a situation where she can't work and she is now fighting for compensation. Now, this Labor government gave Brittany Higgins the compensation very quickly, and they could do that with Fiona Brown, who was found to be a credible witness, who was found to really be going stuff. I remember when she testified, they actually delayed the live stream from the federal court because of her mental health. Now, when it comes to Linda Reynolds' concerns about Higgins' payout, so in a statement following the review by the National Anti-Corruption Commission, Reynolds said she was bitterly disappointed that the Commonwealth settlement to Higgins proceeded without taking a single statement from me or speaking to me at all. Basically, Labor authorised this payout without gathering any evidence. Reynolds also criticised the process, arguing she was not invited to attend the mediation or defence despite being directly named in Higgins' claim. Labor were quick to dish out the money, but also quick to throw opposition members under the bus. They came in while this was all being settled. There was a change of government, and Labor essentially threw Linda Reynolds and Fiona Brown under the bus. Now, whatever you think of Linda Reynolds politically, if she didn't do what's being claimed, then there's a major problem here. And Fiona Brown has been caught in the crossfire. Someone who seemed to have diligently done her job and did all the right things and followed protocol really deserves better than this, than some of Australia's top silks being thrown up against her, and she's not getting a court date until 2027. It's bloody ridiculous. The Prime Minister just needs to step in and sort her out. Linda Reynolds can fight her own battles, and I'm sure she will do that. But Fiona Brown needs to be looked after, and she needs to be looked after now.
McKnight Tonight. McKnight Tonight.
McKnight Tonight. I'm good to have a drink.
Tonight. Here comes McKnight Tonight.
You know what? I don't think I've ranted enough tonight. Let's have a Rob's rant. Now, on Monday night, I talked about the outrageous amount the Bureau of Meteorology has spent on its website. As I reported, the bomb is under fire after a so-called website modernisation project that was meant to cost $4.1 million blew out to almost $96 million. Now, this is just the latest debacle. Back in 2022, the agency attempted to rebrand, asking media and the public to stop calling them BOM and instead refer to them as the Bureau. It's a calamity, and it only gets worse. During an interview with 3AW's Tom Elliott yesterday, CEO Dr. Stuart Minchin, he had the gall to defend the upgrade.
Has anyone lost their job, maybe apart from the previous CEO, over this apparent stuff-up?
Well, I don't accept that it's a stuff-up. I think that it's there's no doubt that the website has not met user expectations in all of the community. But it has.
What would you call it then?
Well, I think it's a learning moment for the Bureau, and what I want to be clear about with the Australian public is that I'm taking responsibility for improving this situation as quickly as we can. And I can assure you that the Bureau staff are working really diligently to address this feedback and to actually release updates.
It's not a stuff-up. You don't think wasting 30, if only it was 30 million, $96 million. You don't think wasting $96 million is a stuff-up and still getting it wrong. Having an interface nobody likes, having hard to access, making it harder to access the weather radar. Like, this is just bullshit. Let's be honest, it is a stuff-up. Now, this guy is new to the role, so it seems to me he's inherited a mess from Dr. Andrew Johnson. He was the previous CEO, where he left the role in September 2025. So that means this guy's picking it up, and he's obviously trying to be nice to his predecessor. But there's no place for niceness here. This is outrageous, and it is ridiculous. Call it what it is. It is a stuff-up, and when you make bullshit claims like that, you're being disingenuous, and how can we believe anything you say? That's Rob's rant. Okay, there's still plenty ahead in this edition of McKnight Tonight. Is it too early to be putting up your Christmas trees? We'll get into that one. And 9 News versus 7 News. They've both claimed wins. Who is the actual winner? I'm ready to... Judge Rob is in the house, ready to go. Everyone has a go at my little gavel. It's not the size of it, it's what you do with it. And I'll have a few more hot topics as well, and we'll fit in a back-end quickie and get to your feedback. Right after, it's that time of the night. It's time for a random live shot of the day.
It's the random live shot of the day. Where are you going today? You'll never know where you'll end up with the random live shot of the day.
And we're lucky because the bird is still there. We were watching this live feed on the preview monitor, and I was sitting there hoping that the bird would stay there. Tonight's random live shot of the day takes us to the peaceful forests of Denmark. This is a 24/7 live stream from wildlife photographer Morten Hilmer. Now, he's broadcasting directly from his own backyard, and this camera captures a feeding station designed for birds and squirrels set against a stunning natural landscape. And there's lots of birds coming and going all through the day. Morten started these live streams in 2021 as part of his mission to rewild the land around his home. Now, the goal is simple: attract wildlife without making animals dependent on humans or disrupting their natural behaviour. Food is placed out every second or third day and usually includes peanuts, hazelnuts, corn and sunflower seeds. The stream also allows viewers to interact via live chat, just like we do here at McKnight Tonight, where observations are logged with timestamps so you can rewind and catch anything you might have missed over the past 12 hours. Oh, it's the Peter Hitchener pigeon has come back. Now, do you understand that reference? Yeah, I'm sure most of you do if you're TV fans, when a pigeon invaded Peter Hitchener on the 9 News in Melbourne. Let's take a look at some feedback, please, Jasmine, coming through to McKnight Tonight. Zach says, legend of the TV world. I think, is Zach talking about me? That'd be nice. Thank you, Zach. Really appreciate that. Who else is coming into us? Beck. So what is the difference between a rant and topics? Very good question. I know what the difference is. One has an intro. What has an intro that's specifically Rob's rant? Lynn, Mum's watching tonight. Thanks, Mum. Christmas tree and decorations. Oh, she's jumped ahead based on the coming up tease. I haven't got to this story yet. Christmas tree and decorations go up whenever you feel like getting into the Christmas spirit. My decorations are around the house. Tree is up, but not fully decorated. Only one decoration. Must be a sad-looking tree, Mum. Dylan says, Dutton didn't resonate with voters. He was seen as cold and standoffish. Yeah, well, I think that was absolutely borne out in what we saw with the with what happened in the election result. Beck says Peter Dutton didn't do anything that made people want to vote for him. You didn't do any social media. He didn't provide himself. Yes, he didn't make himself available. He'd probably argue with that, but sometimes you can make yourself available, but if people don't like the message, they're going to stop listening. We've got this one from Beach Drama, I think that's trying to say. Love the show. Thank you, and good to have you. I think you're a first-time commenter. So I think that might be your first comment. 10 points for you. Thank you for joining the McKnight Tonight family. Matthew says, the post-election survey of voters' attitudes and behaviour is conducted by the Australian National University and Griffith University after every federal election. Oh, yes, I think I saw some questions about that. Fair enough. Thank you, Matthew, for jumping in and answering that. O'Neill Crazy says, on the Republic issue, I voted no. I conceded on the preamble knowing it wouldn't succeed. Fair enough. Over the page we go. Ginger Megs. Hello, Ginger Megs. That's a groovy jacket, by the way. I've had this for quite some time, I'll tell you. But thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Matt says, I voted against the Republic, but I would change my vote today. That's interesting. I find that very interesting. Thank you, Matt. Justine says, I think the problem is no political party follows through with their promises, so loyalty is hard when that happens. It causes people to vote based only on the current promises in the hope that they follow through with some of them. If they do what they promise, people will stick with them, probably for longer than they should. Very good point, Justine. Thank you. We've got this one from Dylan. Friday Zoom link up. Yes, Dylan, I will put the note out tonight. It's definitely happening. It's in my calendar. Is it in my calendar?
Yes.
Liar!
As from now.
But it's all up here, Dylan. It's happening. So I will be sending a link. If you want to join our Zoom chat on Friday at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, 7 p.m. in Queensland, 5 p.m. in WA, then you need to become a paid subscriber. You can do it right now. Just go to the member button. You've subscribed, now just hit the member button. It's really cheap. $5, I think. All right, what else have we got there? Oh, that was the last one. Sorry, Jazzy. I missed Jazzy's signal. Sorry, Dal. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. We've got more feedback coming in just a moment. But you know what I feel like? Some more hot topics.
We've invited you here. You don't need to apologise for your story or for what you're saying. I heard the yapping. There was a lot I didn't understand about myself until I had that diagnosis. Don't get the shitties with me. Oh, Guy, no, that's Guy.
Funny and insightful interviews from a washed-up producer with nothing to lose. McKnight Tonight. McKnight Tonight. Here comes McKnight Tonight.
Okay, when are you allowed to put up your Christmas tree? It's a very simple question that led to a tense moment on a very popular podcast.
If you are putting your Christmas tree up in November, I don't want to mince my words, but you're common as muck.
It's the 30th of November.
November.
Yeah, which is a Sunday.
Yes.
So it's the perfect day to put it up. It's the first the next day. You put the fire on, you get some Christmas music on, a bit of Baileys, and you put the tree up. It's a lovely day.
I would put my tree up like sort of the last weekend before Christmas.
Shut up.
That's when I would
we
put
have
it
this
up.
every bloody year.
If you insist on doing it early, at least wait until the month is December before you put your
No,
tree.
it don't matter. I'm putting mine up on Sunday the 30th. Most people would have done it this weekend. You be you.
Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, as I'm entitled to think people are common degenerates.
Yeah, common degenerate. I don't know. There's something about English people like that. It's the accent and just their confidence that I absolutely love. Now, I have to be honest. The McKnights, we've already put our tree up. I am thinking of putting a Christmas tree here on the McKnight Tonight set on December 1st, so on our first show of December. But I've asked ChatGPT, when are you supposed to put up your Christmas tree? And it says there is no universal rule, but there are widely recognised traditions and modern norms, all verifiable. The traditional religious timing, Advent tradition, the Christmas tree is put up at the start of Advent, which begins on the fourth Sunday before Christmas Day. And guess what? In 2025, Advent begins on Sunday, the 30th of November. So that guy saying you can't put it up in November, it's November, is wrong. You can put it up on a Sunday. So we'll be putting up the McKnight Tonight Christmas tree, Amanda, on the Sunday. We'll be, what do you reckon? Buy a big Christmas tree? What are we going to do?
What, for the set, you mean?
Yeah.
How's it going to fit?
Well, I was just thinking we'll put it right there.
I'll show you the one we've got. It's about, I don't know, 50 centimetres tall.
We could put some nice trim around some tinsel, some blue tinsel around the... Because I don't think we've got enough blue on this set, so no. we could put some blue tinsel around the monitor.
All right, let's give it a go.
Okay, done. All right, so the modern popular practice, late November to early December, with a spike after December 1, and the too early debate after Melbourne Cup. If before November you're starting a fight, but after Melbourne Cup, I would have thought Melbourne Cup was too early. Let me know. I've got some more feedback coming. We've got a back-end quickie ahead and some feedback. So let me know, when are you allowed to put the Christmas tree up?
Here comes McKnight Tonight.
All right. I was watching Real Time with Bill Maher over the weekend, and there were a couple of things I'd really like to cover. The first is from a guest who has a best-selling book called The Let Them Theory. Now, I want you to listen to author Mel Robbins explain her theory.
The theory is so simple. It basically is this: the fastest way to lower your stress and to have more peace and control in your life is stop trying to control everybody else. Let them have their opinions, their behavior, and take all the power and time that you've been wasting on other people and bring it back here and let me focus on my thoughts, my actions, and the way that I want to live my life. And life gets very simple and a lot more peaceful, and you feel more powerful and in control.
It's a fascinating theory, although I like talking to people. I like expressing ideas. And it wasn't just Bill Maher's guest talking about how it's okay to have different political opinions to other people and still be friends. Have a listen to what Bill Maher said at the end of his show.
Now, on the Liberal side, there's two camps now. The we need to keep talking to people wing and the go no contact wing. That's what they call it now, go no contact. This belief that Trump voters, even if it's your own parents, are too deplorable for human contact and must be cut off. You know, like Scientologists do to suppressive people. A former speechwriter for Obama named David Litt wrote an op-ed this year called, "Is it time to stop snubbing your right-wing family?" where he admitted he'd had a change of heart, and that was the wrong approach. So, of course, then the woke wing tried to banish him for breaking ranks on their policy of hating people who don't agree with you on everything, because what fun is life if you're not cutting somebody off? Mr. Litt asked the question, what has all this banishing accomplished? Oh, I know. A second helping of MAGA, that's what. Molly McNerney, Jimmy Kimmel's wife and head writer, went public on this topic recently, so I feel it's fair to comment respectfully in public. She says she's lost relationships with relatives because she wrote them an email before the election with 10 reasons why they shouldn't vote for Trump, and some still didn't obey. So, you know. 10 reasons. I could think of 100. But I would never present it to someone as an ultimatum. Ultimatums don't make people rethink their politics. They make them rethink you.
Yeah. I'm don't understand this idea that you can't be friends with people you have different ideas from politically. I know they say you should never talk religion and politics. I love talking about these things. And, you all know I experienced it recently when a friend of mine got very upset that I did that Craig McLachlan interview. We are sort of talking. But it is interesting, this idea, and as Bill Maher said, it happens on both sides, but particularly the hard left, where if you disagree with them, they turn on you, even if you've been a supporter of theirs. I saw that with Jessica Rowe. I'll never forget this. So Jessica Rowe is one of the leftiest, bleeding hearts. God love her. She wears a heart on her sleeve. And on Studio 10, she always supported the left point of view. So she had a history. As far as I'm concerned, she banked so much goodwill from that. But when she interviewed Pauline Hanson on her podcast, the left turned on her. How dare she? How dare she platform? They want control over who you can speak to. They want control over what you think. And they turned on her. She took down that interview and she apologized. She apologized for daring to interview an elected representative in this country. To this day, I still find it extraordinary. I cannot believe she had to apologize and take that interview down. And Bill Maher's right. A guy who's left-leaning and was against his right-leaning members of the family came to this conclusion that that is the wrong tack to take. And what happened? People on the left attacked him for daring to say that we should talk to people on the right. What kind of world is that? I love it when people get on social media and disagree with what I've said. I read it out. I don't shy away from it. I listen to what you guys have to say. It's a two-way conversation. I'll tell you something. I lose all respect for any talkback radio host who hangs up on a caller because they disagree with them. It is okay for you to disagree with me. I know there are lots of viewers of McKnight Tonight who disagree with a lot of the things I say. But you watch because we share ideas and we share thoughts and we debate those ideas. Sometimes you change your mind. Maybe sometimes I change yours. I try to present evidence and reasons for all the things I say. Sometimes it's just gut. And sometimes I can be swayed. But you won't sway me if you just attack me. You won't sway me if you just ignore me. It's about having a conversation, and it's about being respectful to each other. Well, the war between 7 News and 9 News shows no sign of ending, with both TV networks claiming victory in 2025. Today, Channel 7 issued a press release declaring itself Australia's #1 news. And that's true, but it's not the full story. According to 7 News averaged 1.3 million viewers nationally across total TV, growing 3% year on year, which is pretty amazing for television, and surging 70% on 7+. But the 6 p.m. news service is not a national news service. It's local. There are different hosts in each state. So that means any claims of national wins are irrelevant. The key here is the state-by-state battles. Back in July, 9 put out a release claiming victory in Brisbane, Sydney and Melbourne based on weeks 1. All 3 markets had passed the magic 21 weeks out of 40, making them unbeatable. Now, look, there are some that don't accept that metric of weeks 1 and say it should be averages, but historically it has been used to determine the winner. And I still stand by it, but to be honest, 9 would have still won on averages anyway. 9 has also claimed a metro win. But again, like the national figure, that's useless because all those metro areas have different hosts. They're not one bulletin. And this is the point. When it comes to the 6 p.m. news, we need to judge state by state. So that means 9 has won Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne, 7, Adelaide, and Perth. Now, it's thanks to those big margins in Perth that 7 has won nationally. So, yep, they can claim it. I don't put any value in it, but it's a selling point. But I will tell you something. I think 9 will win 2026. There is a change happening. 7 is losing the audience. And just the trend I'm seeing, I reckon 9 is in with a very good chance of winning 2026. Mark this in your calendar. Keep this file. In 2026, we'll come back and we'll be able to say, McKnight was right. And if I'm wrong, we'll never talk about it again. All right. And speaking of 9, well, tonight their news service features in our back-end quickie.
It's time for a back-end quickie.
I've got a good one for you today. Have a look at what happened in the 4 p.m. news on 9 in Perth just yesterday.
Owen Leonard, when can we expect an official opening?
Well, Michael, a new look whacker complete with a water slide was set to be open for the public to enjoy by November. We can reveal that's now been blown out until after the school holidays. Fuck. Is still set to be completed by the end of the year. A series of testing will then need to be undertaken on facilities. At that time as well, the WAC will commit some of their resources to the Perth Scorchers for the Big Bash League season, but the state and federal governments will need to align and agree on a new opening date. So this will push out beyond January, but there are still hopes that it will be complete in time for the end of the cricket season. Michael?
Wowzers. I will be honest, I don't understand what happened there, because I don't know if he was reaching, if it was live. Now, it didn't have a live bug on it, so if he thought he wasn't live, why wouldn't he have just started again if he wasn't live? If he was live, what on earth possessed him to say that word? Like, it just is so bizarre, so bizarre. Anyway, let's take a look at some feedback coming through to McKnight Tonight. We've already answered that one. Thank you, Dylan. That is, I'm going to do that straight after the show. Ginger Meg says, hi, hello, nice to see you feeling better. Thank you for that. Yes, feeling much better than I was the last couple of weeks. Beck says, I don't know anything about the Fiona Brown stuff, but she can't work as a result and she should be compensated. Absolutely. Yes, I agree. Matthew says, send me your address, Rob, and I'll 3D print you a new gavel. You don't like my gavel? Actually, that sounds like a great idea. I will do that, Matthew. Thank you very much. Dylan says, I think the bomb story is missing the point. The 96 million was for a full Bureau ICT and systems upgrade, not just the website, based on what someone I know who works for the bomb. Yeah. I absolutely believe that's the case, and that's my understanding too. But it doesn't change the fact it's $96 million, Dylan. How do you justify that? Like, is there any other company that would have $96 million building a website? And yes, all the back-end stuff, I don't know. I think a lot of consultants took a lot of money, and that money hasn't translated into a website people like. Beck says, in such a small house, we don't actually have room for a tree. Oh, that's a shame, Beck. Maybe in your next house. But you can always buy a little one for the table. Own Your Crazy says, it's 12 days of Christmas. The decorations come down on the Epiphany, January 6th. That is true. On the 12 days of Christmas, my true love gave to me a quick swift in the knee. Matthew says, we don't bother with the tree anymore, but for a couple of years, we just printed a picture on the printer and stuck it on the wall. Very Christmassy, Matthew. Very Christmassy. Yeah. Mum says, woo, mine was definitely put up after Melbourne Cup. Yes, my mum loves her decorations. She has the tinsel everywhere. It's a tradition that was started by my dad. He used to go tinsel crazy. Own Your Crazy says, very true. There is little to no point in wasting energy on things that fall outside your sphere of influence. Some things are just too pithy to bother with, and that includes toxic people. Yeah, fair enough. Matt says, my right-wing views have made me stronger. Classic. Very, very funny. Dylan says, 9 will not win in Adelaide when they axe presenters like Kate Collins. Very good point, and fair enough, Dylan. All right, that brings us to the end of this edition of McKnight Tonight. We are back tomorrow with Tipsy Thursday. So grab yourself a drink and get on board. And for all those asking, Jeanette did tell us that she wasn't going to be watching tonight. She was going to be at a meeting, but she might be listening on the car on the way home. So a big hello to Jeanette. I love how the McKnight Tonight community, they all worry about each other, but she's all right. All right, we'll see you tomorrow night. Until then, it's good night from McKnight.
It's good night from McKnight Tonight.